All those old stories that they used to share with you about the old fairies, about the blood hunting fairies, the ones that send you into torment and purgatory because you crapped over one of their obscure laws that humanity never knew they're real. How do I pitch post-traumatic stress disorder in the game to you? Okay, Labyrinth. Anyone remember Labyrinth? Imagine the baby from Labyrinth grew up, and now he's 13 years old. He's been eating all the fruit from Jareth's garden. He's been just mowing the lawn for Jareth from 13 years. He escapes. He runs back through the transitional plane. He goes back home, and he sees himself still as a baby in his crib. No time has passed, but he's 13 years old. Or he runs back home, and there's his 30-year-old self with his wife, an adopted son. His parents are old. He's no longer a part of the world anymore. He's different. He still looks like himself. He still looks in the mirror and sees himself, but then he sees these weird claw marks. He sees these weird beak-like protrusions on his face. He starts seeing scales over his face. You are touched by the plane of fairies. Something about you was so special that they heard you. They, the gentry, the true fae, the others, they heard you, they saw you. You walked off the beaten path for too long. You walked into the transitory field called the hedge, a constantly shape-shifting magical realm full of goblin fruit, the goblin markets, hobgoblins, the true fae crossing, other changelings, and kids who just went too far off. Your soul was caught on those thorns, and something that looked like a mountain but had the head of a goat, or maybe it was just a beautiful Victorian soldier, or maybe it was this fantastical chimera with 8 different Power Ranger heads, grabbed you, dragged you into Arcadia under your durance and servitude. You escape. You go back through the hedge. You come back to the world. And you can never go home again. It took me 5 years to figure out how to pitch Changeling to people. This beautiful Jungian meta-narrative mess of clever wordplay, and it's a game of beautiful madness. Your morality becomes clarity. You have glamour and a certain amount of your weird. The weird is this weird force that connects all the things that you say as a changeling. As a regular changeling, you can enter people's dreams by this. You just can. You walk through any door, you are back in the hedge. You can travel any distance that you want, running through the hedge, which is the world of dreams. As a regular changeling, you can pop a glamour, activate a contract. You can pop a glamour, activate a token, which is a magical thing that was just lying down, like it could be that shotgun that fires off lightning bats at somebody if you pop a glamour into it. Anything can happen in this world. Where you have your seemings, which are all 6 of these, a standard changeling can still do a buttload of other things, but there's not enough time. Why? Because there are like 8 paths of universal contracts, each of them with 5 different levels you can learn from. And that's before you even pick a freaking seeming. What kind of seemings am I talking about? The Darklings. They're the ones of fear, the ones hiding under your bed, hiding in the closet. They're the freaky murder sprites. They're the boogeymen. They have issues with being in direct sunlight, but they will make you fear. Or the elementals, who are just sturdy. They are of the elements. Now when I say elemental, what does that even mean? You can be a fire elemental? Yes. An electrical elemental? Yes. A glass elemental? Yes. A toxic Avenger elemental? Yes. A straw elemental? Almost anything. Almost anything. Every Sith has almost 13 to 25 different kiths. And in addition to your contracts and going into people's dreams, your seemings give you different powers, your different kith subdivision gives you different powers, and I haven't even talked about the seasonal cards! You understand why it took me so long to get my head around where do you approach this beautiful mess of a game? Slowly. You can be the drudge, and I'm talking about those blood transferring brownies, I'm talking about the old smiths, I'm talking about the shoemaker's elves. The wizened are good at one specific task. That's what they were drudging for. They're the most dangerous because they can animate whatever they want in their workshop, or they can touch an object and learn who owned it, what it from, what it heard, what it saw, the beasts. Growl, growl, yiff, yiff, my butt plug has a tail on it. Any possible beast you can be, from a swimmerkin, to a mountain goat, to a lion, to a hunter hart, whatever you want to be. The ogres. Do I have to explain what an ogre is? Big smash. As an ogre, you can create this perpetual path because at your level 1 ogre ability, the Contract of Stone, your dice pool is your strength plus your weird. All those successes go back into your strength to then roll for your next strength check. Do you understand what that means? I don't like you. Have a Volkswagen in the face. Oh, you threw it back? Have a school bus in the face. They get more powerful. Where's my favorite? The Fairists. The Fairists are the social-driven ones. They're the ones closest to losing clarity. What do I mean by clarity? When you do something wrong, when you steal, when you plot to kill, when you go out of your way to do bad things, you have a harder time distinguishing the weird LSD effects of the hedge and reality itself. Does anyone else see the Crimson Scarecrow in the corner? No, we killed your keeper last month. Did we? Did we really? This is an amazing game of antagonists and power builds, and here's what I mean by that. So your power base is your glamour. How do you get glamour back? A bunch of ways. Harvesting by dreams or making pledges and contracts. Pledges are a great way to trick people into wordplay. It can be something very simple as, yeah, if you just let me mow the lawn and sleep on your couch for tonight, you'll find more riches than you ever thought. What? That person suddenly starts gaining more resources. They start going well. Or you can start cursing people with pledges, or you can just make a verbal contract, sign and shake on it, and have the weird deal with them when you break it. This is a game that rewards clever wordplay. Like in Dungeons & Dragons, when I sent them against a dragon white, and they thought, oh man, a white dragon! No, I said dragon white. I'm talking about an undead dragon with level drain, bitches. That was a red, by the way. Have fun with all that ice proofing you did. It's a game where you've got to be more clever and resourceful. And once you've picked your kith and your seeming and your sub-kith of that, you get together in your motley and you pick one of, I love this social system that they've created. They go in this old court system, the 4 seasonal courts, or the night and moon court, or the sun and moon court for you Pokemon fans. They've had that for the last couple of years. The seasonal court. Are you the chest-thumping warriors that are the Iron Spear, the powers of heat and wrath of the summer court, or are you going to wait a little bit longer for the fall court, my personal favorite, the court of autumn, the leaded mirror, the ones who will use the true phase magic against them. Fear and harvest and rotting are their powers that they work with. If you try to harvest an emotion from someone to gather more glamour, and it's one of the court's prime emotions, you get bonus successes to it. Not bonus chances, successes. Or will you wait longer and join the winter court of despair, of ice, of snow, of cold, of sadness, of entropy? Or wait until spring comes along and you can be the life-giving, life-taking, joyous living, tree-hugging hippies of the spring court and work with desire, rework it left and right. Have people want what you want, or have you not want what they want. Best character creation I find with this game is working off of a theme. You start with a myth or a legend, Spring-Heeled Jack or Green-Toothed Jenny. Start from that. Think of whom would want to take a person of that. Think of what a regular person in the world would have those skills, maybe good swimming, good biting, what have you, harvesting, a biologist, a botanist, they get taken too. There's a great power build in this. This is a game that rewards you for really taking over the world as your personal story. Because as a changeling, you work with fate all the time. You can also pick up a goblin contract. A goblin contract is an ability that will bite you in the ass later, but give you the success that you need right about now. It gives you the chance to build up a lot of different encounters, from rival courts to dealing with rival motleys, to just the issue I said, coming out of the hedge and finding you, the fake you, your fetch. Because when your keeper took you away, maybe it grabbed some straw, some rosebuds, and a rabbit's head, stuck that on and said, you think that you're Dan now, the 30-year-old shoe salesman from Chicago. I do. No one sees through that. At the moment, there is nothing in World of Darkness, save for a mage directly looking for a changeling, that can pierce the mask. You see this, but other changelings can see through the mask and know what you are. But if you want to look like a different changeling, all you have to do is be smart about it. Every one of the contracts that you have has a catch where you don't have to spend anything to activate it. It can be free. Give you an example, Contract of the Wild. The first one is Runner Swift. You run and leave no trace or trail of you, period. No one can know you were there. You can either spend the glamour and just activate it, or if you were outside yesterday with no shoes on, you just activate it for the fun of it. You don't even need to know the contract. You start being this obsessive compulsive with details, and as a changeling, you start gaining all these, as your powers go up, you become more Fey-like, and you start getting different banes. Yes, you have all these ridiculous fire summoning powers, but you can't smell an outlit match, or you can't stand seeing an LED light, or you can't be near a dog when it barks, or you can't even enter a certain church on Sunday. Weird banes start piling up. It's a great game of micromanaging, and the source material is delicious. All these different books to pick up on Changeling are rewarding and delicious. Let me get back to the fetch, the fake you. You can absolutely kill it and try to reintegrate yourself into the world. I think the fetch will have issues with that. I think the fetch will have different resources for that. There are many stories where the fetch gathers a bunch of different people and says, "That's the monster! Get it, boys!" Why? Because they've been with him for the last 5 years. They know fake Dan as real Dan. What do you think that looks like, Dan? Holding a flaming skull in your hand, saying, "I want my wife back!" From there, you gain up an even more power, eventually taking on the true Fae. What I love about the true Fae is they're rarely statted out. They have to be this powerful. Even when they come into this world, they're more powerful than a werewolf. And when you try to fight them on their home turf, in someone's dream, or in the hedge, you sneeze too loud, you try using a cell phone, you knock 3 times in a mirror, you say your true name enough times, they'll catch scent of you. This is the game where you are clever. Changelings are not dangerous, they're not powerful, they're smart. And those people agree with me. Changelings trick people into jumping through that fake doorway, or they just open up a car window, shove the guy inside, and they're trapped in the hedge. Now, have fun getting back home, because you never can go home. Changelings capture people in long-term contracts and pledges. You never make a deal with them, but you have to make a deal, because they have everything that you want. I will absolutely remove your wife's insomnia and schizophrenia. I absolutely will. All you have to do, you just word it to screw them over as best you can. Doesn't matter, you can throw the weird back at them. Changeling! All-time favorite.